Okay. Good morning, guys. We are starting little late today. I hope. Okay. Good morning, guys. We are starting late today, little bit. I personally apologize for that. Okay. We have four people today. We are quite late attendance. I hope I'm audible. Somebody just respond me in the chat that I'm audible. I hope that you guys can hear me. And as I said, we starting little late today because we had Aarti in college, Ganpati Bappa Aarti, so that's why we started little late. So I apologize for that, and let's start with the lecture. Okay, let me first share my screen with you guys. Okay, as I said again, nobody is responding to me, so I'm hoping that I'm audible to you guys. You guys can listen, at least hear my voice. Today there will not be any kind of numerical lecture, so I will be explaining from the Word document itself, my notes. Okay, so let's start that. So today we will be doing the last part. Okay, somebody has responded. Also, Nikita says saying that she can hear me. So I'm hoping that all of you can hear me. So we'll continue that, and we'll start with the last topic of this unit. That is coupling. So by now, this is actually we will finish this in two lectures. Today's lecture we'll try to do the theoretical part, and in next lecture we will do a couple of at least one numerical, and then we'll finish up with this unit. Okay. So we this is like this unit is about design of the shafts. We have gone through many different types of design of the shaft, not types but many techniques of designing a shaft. In this it was a strength basis design video we have seen design based on SME, then design based on lateral and lateral rigidity. We have seen torsional rigidity. We have seen. So in those first few lectures, we have seen how to design a shaft. Basically, we tried to find out diameter of the shaft. Then in the last lecture, we have gone through design of the design of keys. So for square key, we found out the dimensions, or we designed it. We calculated the dimensions of the square key, and in today's lecture, we will do design of a coupling. So we'll try to understand first what is coupling. I hope my Word document is visible to you guys, and you guys are able to see the what you can say, my notes. Okay. So couplings basically, what are couplings? We will try to understand. We will go through different types of couplings, and then we will do design of flange coupling, protected and normal flange coupling. So right, what is coupling? Coupling is a mechanical device which permanently joins two rotating shafts. So basically, coupling means couple. It is used to couple two things, right? So that's why it is called coupling. So in this case, we are coupling, or we are joining two shafts. So when two shafts are joined by using some element, it is called as coupling. So actually, this is called permanent joint. Not this. If we weld it, it's a permanent joint. But since we would like to do maintenance, like if something goes wrong with the shaft, we'd like to work on that. So that's why we will make sure that we can remove these couplings, we can work on the shafts, and again we can put the couplings back, right? So these are the components which are used to connect shafts. One of the shaft will be the driving shaft, and one of the shaft will be driven shaft, right? And it will be basically transmitting power. So one shaft will be transmitting power to the other shaft. So that's what. So basically, what is the purpose of coupling? It will take torque or power from one shaft, and it will pass it to the next shaft. That is as simple as what you can say, definition of a coupling, right? So now we have designed keys, so we can use keys to transmit power from shaft to the coupling, and again from coupling to the shaft we can use again key to transfer the torque. So now what are different types of couplings? So now since we know what are couplings, we'll see what are different types of coupling. Okay. So first is muff coupling. It is simple, what you can say, a simple cylindrical element which has a keyway inside it, which is basically connects diameter, inside diameter of that cylinder will be equal to the diameter of our shafts, right? And it will have a keyway in it, and the keyways will also be there on the shaft. So as the first diagram is, we are showing, we have a key, and we will be inserting a key in it, right, from one side, and basically the torque will be coming from the driving shaft to the key, then it will go to the muff, and then from the muff it will come to key and again to the driven shaft. So it is a very simple, what you can say, element, right? Another is a clamp coupling. Here there will not be keyways, will not be there. So basically we will try to clamp. We will try to clamp or hold the shaft, and with the friction force we will transfer the torque from the shaft to the coupling, and then it will go to the other side, and again with the clamp or with the friction force it will go to the driven torque. So here if you see the second diagram, it is a clamp coupling. Inside one shaft will be on the one side, other shaft will be on the other side, and they will be clamped by nut and bolts, right? So basically when we tightly clamp it, it is assumed that it will not freely rotate, and it will take the torque from the input shaft and given to the output shaft, right? So this is clamp coupling. So there are some couplings I have shown. This clamp coupling we talked about right now, right? There is another is a conical coupling. The inside is those you can see the black rubbers. There is a conical shape is there. Because of that conical shape, the torque is transmitted. Another is a flange coupling. The third one is the flange coupling, which we will do a design of this. Now what is flange coupling? Basically there are two discs which are connected by nut and bolt. There may be 4, 5, 6 depending on the power transmitted, and the load will be transferred from the input shaft to the, what you can say, flange, to the nut bolt. It will come to the other part of the flange, and it will go to the output torque. So similarly, there are different types of coupling, like blind made couplings are there. You can see the inside there is the grooves are there, and with those grooves it will be passed. Expanding shaft is there, and line shaft. So these are different kinds of couplings are there. We actually mainly talk about muff coupling, clamp coupling, and flange. But in our design, we will be designing only flange coupling, right? So now we know what are couplings. Couplings are used to transmit power from one shaft to the other shaft, right? They are rotating elements, and we have gone through different types of coupling: muff coupling, clamp coupling, the conical coupling, flange coupling, and now we will see a design of a flange coupling. So now this diagram shows you the flange coupling. Before we proceed, anybody has any doubt, you can raise your doubt in the chat if you have. Otherwise, I will just keep simply proceeding, assuming that you guys are following everything whatever I'm saying. Okay, that means there is nothing in the chat, so I will continue. So now we will do design of a flange coupling. Now, as we said, what is flange coupling? It will have a what you can say, it's a rotating element. What is coupling? Rotating element which will transmit power from shaft 1 to shaft 2. Now here if you see shaft 1, there is a what you can, shaft 1 is connected to shaft 2 by use of a flange coupling. What is coupling? Coupling has hub, right? It has flanges and nut and bolt. There are three parts, and which we will need to design all these three parts. Actually, when we are doing design, we need to design the hub, we need to design flange, and we need to design nut and bolts. Very straightforward. So there is another diagram. See, like in the steel, what I can say, flange coupling I have shown. So there is this is hub, the part which you can see top and bottom is hub. There are flanges, two flanges, and those flanges are joined by nut and bolts. Here there are 6 nut and bolts are shown. It can be 4, 5, 6 depending on application, depending on the torque transmitter. Okay, so you got that. The torque will be coming from input shaft. It will be transferred to hub, right? And then from hub it will go to the flanges. Flanges will transfer the torque to nut and bolts, and nut and bolt will again transfer to the flange, hub, and then it will go to shaft. So it is a very pretty simple, straightforward. So now there is another modification of this flange coupling is flexible flange coupling. If you see here, there is a, what you can say, same design is there, but there is a bushing shown, right? A bushing is when in the nut and bolt there is a bushing is there, but it's a kind of, what you can say, shock absorbing element, right? So this is this whatever we talked, that is a rigid flange coupling, and this is a flexible. Now what is rigid? Basically it will not be able to absorb any kind of shock or little misalignment in the shaft. But with the flexible flange coupling, little misalignment in the shaft or little vibrations, those or the shocks, those will be absorbed by the coupling, and they will not be transmitted. Okay, so that's why flexible flange coupling is a little bit more, what you can say, preferred. But the problem is that now these washers or bushings, those will be, it will, they will go through wear and tear, so it will have some kind of maintenance, right? So this is what is flange coupling and flexible flange coupling, and we will see now. One problem with the flange coupling is that if something goes wrong with the shaft, like they say if it shears or it breaks, right, it will because it is rotating, it will come out, right, and it might harm the, any person nearby. So for that, on the top of the flange we take the top part outside, and that is we call as, protected flange coupling. It is basically, it's a flange coupling only, but the outside diameter will have a kind of protected thing. Now I think I have, okay, here see, and I have shown a rigid coupling, but here it is a protected. Above the nut and bolt, you see little bit protection is there. The we have made a groove so that, the if something goes wrong, it will not, the screws and nut and bolts will not go flying. So this is called as protected flange coupling, right? And we will do a design of a protected rigid coupling. Okay. So I hope now you guys understand what is a flange coupling. Flange coupling is a coupling in which we use flanges and hub to transfer power from one shaft to another shaft with the help of nut and bolts. Okay. Okay, so I think it's pretty clear now what is coupling, and now we will go through actual design of a flange coupling. Okay, anybody has any doubt? We have gone through what is coupling, what are different types of coupling, then we have gone through different flange couplings. What is flange coupling? We try to understand what are parts of flange coupling, and basically we will do now design of a rigid coupling. Okay. Okay, so let's go through now. First, right before doing the design, okay, I hope that you guys are okay with whatever, we have done till now. I am assuming that you guys are with me and you guys are following. Any doubt is there, you guys can raise your hand or ask me in the chat. No issues. Okay. So let's proceed now. We will do now design of a flange coupling. We will try to finish that part, and there we will close today's lecture, because next lecture I will take a numerical on the design of the flange coupling. Whatever we are doing, I will take a numerical on that in the next lecture. Okay. Now see, if here it is coupling is shown, there are we have we have shown diameters of inside and what not inside, but input and output shaft diameter is shown by small d. So diameter of the shaft is d. Both shaft is assumed to be of the same diameter. Okay. Now they are connected with the coupling with keys. So if you see on the left hand side of the diagram, let me just zoom it a little bit. On the left hand side, there is a key on top. On the right shaft, the key is at the center. So basically, your flange coupling is connected with the shaft with the help of keys, right? And this key design will be same whatever we design we did in the previous lecture. It is same design. If it is a shaft is used to transfer torque, and the design of the key will remain same. So we'll use the same logic. We will use the square key, and length of the, we'll calculate the length depending on the torque. Okay. So now we know D is the diameter of the shaft inside input and output. Then there is a key, and then there are three parts: hub, flange, and nut and bolts. Right. So now we'll try to go through different dimensions, and then we will try to find out those dimensions in the design part. Right. Now, what are different dimensions? Now we have shown DH is the diameter of the hub, right? Capital D is piece circle diameter of the your nut and bolts, and DO is the outside diameter of the flange. Okay, let me just verify whatever I told. DH is outside diameter of the hub, right? So you see, if you see the hub cross sectional part, which is hub, that diameter is shown by diameter DH, small dh. Capital D is P circle diameter of the nut, your bolts, right? Whatever bolts they are located at diameter D. If you see the right hand side diagram, it is shown with the center line. Those are the PCD of the your bolts. D, it is denoted by symbol D. DO is outside diameter of the flange, right? So we have now four diameters: D diameter of the shaft, DH diameter of the hub, D capital D PCD of the bolts, and DO outside diameter of the flange. Now we have to find out the length of your what I can say, thickness of the flanges and length of your hub. Those two things we need to find out. LH is length of the hub. So if you see, okay, now there are two flanges are there, right? So we have to do design of a one flange, and second flange will be almost identical, right? So LH is the length of the hub, the portion which is connected to the shaft, that center portion. So right, if you see this diagram, this portion is the hub, right? These are the flanges, these are the nut bolts, right? So the LH is the length of the hub, T is thickness of the flange here. Now this part is T is thickness of the flange again, and the protection, the rim, outer rim it is shown, that is also again T. So it's basically at the top, the width of the flange is 2T, right? But where it is, nut and bolts are joined, it is T. Now T1 is the thickness of the protecting ring. The protecting ring T1 thickness is that it is simply for the protection of the nut and bolts, right? And there is the diameter of the spigot and the resist, right? This is the diameter of the spigot and the resist. Okay, now and there is also diameter D1, diameter of the what you can say, your bolts, right? So that also we need to find out. So we need to find out diameter of the shaft, diameter of the outside diameter of the hub, diameter of the P circle diameter of the nut and bolts, outside diameter of the flange. We need to find out thickness of the hub, thickness of the flange, and diameter of the bolts. So we need to find out these different diameters, right, as a part of our design. Now n is, as I said, number of bolts is 3, 4, 6 depending on the diameter or the application, right? If the diameter of the shaft is 40 mm up to, then it is, we use 3 nut and bolts. From 40 to 100 we use 4, and for more than 100 to 180 we use 6. For more than 180 we use 8 number of bolts. Okay, so now we know the nomenclature. Now, what are different, what you can say, dimensions or different parts and the dimensions of those parts. Now we will try to design those. Now, the notation, we take some standard dimensions and we will check it for the failure. This is the design procedure we'll take. We'll see now DH, outside diameter of the hub is 2D. So if we first we will try to find out D, diameter of the shaft. How we will find that? We know the power P or torque transmitted. From the power we can find out the torque, right? P is equal to 2 pi n T upon 60, or torque is MTB, do we use 60 into 10 raised to 6 P upon 2 pi n, right? Again, I will repeat it. Torque or MP is equal to 60 into 10 raised to 6 multiplied by power in kilowatt divided by 2 pi n. We use this formula to find out torque from the power, right? Or if we are given pulley, then we will find out the load of ultimate or resultant load in the pulley multiplied by radius will give us the torque. So once we know the torque, we can find out the diameter, right? Diameter of the shaft using the what you can say, strength basis, using the torsion equation. T upon J is equal to tau upon R is equal to G theta by L. Use this equation. Out of those, we know allowable shear stress tau, and we know T torque, and if we J and R, from that we can find out the diameter of the radius of the shaft or diameter of the shaft. So we know now D, small d. Now outside diameter of hub DH is, we take 2D. LH, length of the hub, we take 1.5D. P circle diameter of the bolts we take 3 times. So diameter of the shaft multiplied by 3 we will take, that is the diameter of the piece circle, diameter of the your bolts. Thickness of the flange will take half of the diameter. Then the protecting a rim, that is again 0.25 of the diameter, right? We'll take that as 0.25. Thickness is the 0.25 of the diameter, half of the thickness. Thickness is zero point 0.5 and half of that is 0.25. Diameter of spigot and races is 1.5d, and outside diameter of the flange is 4d. It is 4 times plus 2 T1. T1 is the thickness. So basically, we'll take 4 times diameter of the shaft will be the outside diameter of the what you can say flange, and we add 2 T1, one top and one bottom. That is thickness of the protecting rim, right? So these are the different dimensions we will calculate, and we will make sure then these dimensions, they survive or they will not fail under different failures, right? So you got it. So we know now nomenclature, we know these dimensions, and now we will use these dimensions, standard dimensions, to make sure that our flange will not fail. Okay, anybody has any doubt till now? We are doing a design of a flange coupling. We have seen different parts of it: shaft, hub, flange, nut and bolts, and then we have seen different dimensions: small d, diameter of the shaft, dr, dh, diameter of the hub, capital D, pcd of the bolts, d0, outside diameter of the rim, which is 4d plus what can I say 2t1. Then we have seen thickness of the hub, thickness of the flange, right? So now we will try to see what different kinds of failure it will go, and just will make sure that it will not fail under those kind of failures. Now first we need to find out what is the, what I can say, a load, or basically your nut and bolts will go undergo shear. Now we'll first take a look at nut and bolts. Now try to assume it is made of a soft material. If you are assuming now how any material will fail under shear, as we said, we just try to assume that it is made of a very soft material. So now we have a shaft, we have a hub, flange, and your nut and bolts are made of a very soft material. Right? How it will fail? It will simply shear at the center where the two couplings, they are transmitting the load. It will simply undergo shear. Now that area is pi by 4 d square, d1 square. Now small d1, and multiplied by number of bolts n. That will be the area which is resisting the shear, right? So tau is equal to P upon that area is shear stress. Very simple. We completed one design. Tau allowable shear stress in nut and bolt is equal to P upon A. Area is pi by 4 d1 square multiplied by n, number of bolts. Here in the diagram it is 4 now, right? So if we know P, and we can find out the diameter if we know allowable shear stress. Now for that we need to know P. Now how we will know P? We'll just go through that now, how to find out P. Now first, see now in this we are just trying to find out now how to find out P, right? So MT is equal to, now assume now we know power, and we can find out the torque transmitted by the shaft. That MT is the torque, right? So here now how just take a look at the diagram, shear resistance by the bolt. Now if P is the load in each bolt, so your total load is now what you can say P into D by 2 radius, right? Radius is d by 2, P into radius multiplied by number of bolts, right? So one bolt will be able to take a torque of P into R, right? P into d by 2, and number of bolts is n, then it will be P into d by 2 into n will be your total torque. So if we compare that torque with load into d by 2 into n, then we can find out the what you can say diameter of the bolt, right? Here MT is the torque transmitted in Newton mm, P is the load in each bolt. We can find out P if we know the P circle diameter and if we know number of bolts, right? And once we know P, we can find out the diameter of the bolt, right? So now here MT is equal to P into D by 2 into N. Now tau is equal to, as I said, tau is equal to P upon pi by 4. Just now we talked about it. The shear stress in the bolt is P upon pi by 4 d1 square. So if we put this equation here, we get tau is equal to P upon pi by 4 d1 square, right? So here let's try to put in terms of P. P is equal to 2mt upon d by n, dn, right? Say from the equation A, P is equal to 2mt upon dn. So put it here. So we get 2mt upon dn divided by pi by 4 d square. So we get tau is equal to 8mt upon pi d n d1 square, right? So shear stress in a bolt is equal to 8 mt upon pi dn d1 square. So if we know allowable shear stress, how can we find out allowable shear stress? Tau is equal to 0.5 into SYT upon factor of safety. We did it many times. Allowable shear stress in a shaft is, okay, allowable shear stress in a shaft is 0.5 of SYT upon factor of safety. So we know allowable shear stress. Torque, we just found out the torque using the power equation. Number of bolts, as I said, depending on the D, diameter of the shaft, those are 3, 4, 6, right? D1 is the diameter of the, what you can say, bolt, and a D is the P circle diameter. So we can design our shaft, our nut and bolts of a flange using this equation, right? Okay, so now we know, see the T1 is 0.25D, T1 is the thickness of the protecting rim, DR is 1.5 and D is raised. So, okay. So now we'll just quickly go through the design of a flange coupling. So now we know what kind of load will be there in each bolt of your flange coupling and what is the equation of the shear stress in each bolt. Then we will go through design procedure. Okay. So quickly, just I think we'll go through different steps of designing the different parts of the coupling, and then we'll see the different failures. Now, first, I think we did almost half design we already did, so we just go through that. Now, torque is equal to, as I said, we use the power equation. Torque is equal to 60 into first step, 60 into 10 raised to 6 into power in kilowatt upon 2 pi n. With this, we can get MT if we know the power and number of RPMs, right? Revolutions per minute we know, then we can find out MT. And shear stress tau is equal to 16 MT upon pi d cube. For the shaft, MT is the torque transmitted, tau is the allowable shear stress in the shaft, then we can find out D, right? So as a first step of your design, we will try to find out the torque transmitted in the shaft and diameter of the shaft. Okay, clear? We did this many times. This is a design on the strength basis, right? Now we will find out the standard dimensions of the flange, and then we'll make sure that those will not fail. Now, how to find out standard dimensions of the flanges? DH is equal to 2D, as we talked about. Hub diameter, 2 of the diameter, LH is 1.5D, the length of the hub 1.5D, capital D, P circle diameter 3D, T thickness of the flange 0.5D, T1 thickness of the protecting rim is 0.25D, DR 1.5D, and DO 4D plus 2D. Now here DO is outside diameter of the flange. It is 4 times of the diameter plus 2 times thickness of the protecting rim. Now, so we know now dimensions of all the flange coupling dimensions. We'll just make sure that now it will not fail under different failures. Now we'll try to assume that how different things will fail, right? So first thing, now try to this hub. Now how the hub will fail? Because of the torsion, now it is rotating, so it will undergo torsional shear. Okay, so what is hub? Hub is basically a cylinder, hollow shaft, right? So it will have an inside diameter, outside diameter, and it will undergo torsional shear. So how it will fail? This is how it will fail. Tau is equal to MT upon J. J is equal to, here now pi into J for the hub. Hub is what? Cylinder. Inside diameter is diameter of the shaft. Outside diameter is diameter of the hub. Right. So DH raised to 4 minus D raised to 4 into pi upon 32 will be the J. And R is DH by 2, hollow shaft. So using this equation, we will find out whether you are, because we know now all the dimensions, we'll make sure that the shear stress we are having in the flange is less than allowable shear stress, right? So first we have gone through the failure of the hub in torsional shear. Okay, now the next part which we'll see now, this part. See where there is this part where the hub is hub joins to the flange part. So right there, now as you try to assume how it will fail in shear, it will fail in shear at the rim part, right? Just try to assume that now your hub is solid, it's made of steel, and your flange is made of a soft material. So it will simply rotate. So the area, this is kind of rim, okay? The area which is opposing the shear is your pi into dh into thickness of the flange. So try to assume this as a cover, or you can say a rim with diameter of pi dh into t. Let me just show you that to you. Now pi dash into 2. Now this area of shear, now that is the part, you know, where the flange is trying to oppose the shear. It is pi dh into t, right? So what is the shear force? Pi dh into t into tau, and the torque because of that will be pi dh t into tau multiplied by dh by 2. That is the radius of the your what you can say outside part of the hub, or where the flange starts, right? So first we'll try to find out the shear area, then multiplied by shear to find out shear force, multiplied by radius to find out the shear torque, and that compare that torque with our mt, that is the torque which we need to carry. So that mt is equal to pi dh t tau into dh by 2. Now again I will explain this. Torque transmitted by the your what is it inside the flange, or where the hub and flange meets, the torque transmitted is pi dh. This is the perimeter of the rim, multiplied by thickness of the flange, that is the area opposing shear, multiplied by tau. This will give you the shear force, multiplied by dh by 2, multiplied by radius to get the torque. So now n is 3 less than, we are going for the design of bolts now. N is less than 3 for if it less than 40 mm. N is 4 for 40 to 100. For it is 6 for 100 to 180, and more than that it is 8. So now from this equation, now this equation we have just seen, right? Here tau is equal to 8 mt upon pi d and d1. So if we take d1 on the other side, we get 8 mt upon tau pi d dn, right? So d square is equal to 8 mt upon pi dn tau. So using this equation, if we know the torque transmitted, p circle diameter, a number of bolts, and allowable shear stress, we can find out the diameter of the bolts d1, right? Again, now this bolt, now this is for the we found out the diameter from the shear stress. Now bolt will also undergo compress or crushing stress. That area, now see that area which is in front of which is undergoes crushing is diameter of your bolt multiplied by thickness of the flange. Now if from flange is trying to crush the bolt, and the area which is opposing that is a rectangular area, height of the area is the diameter of the bolt, and width is your thickness of the flange. So that d1 into t will be the area which is opposing the crush. So multiplied by n, number of bolts, will give you the total area which is opposing the crushing, multiplied by that area with the allowable what you can say stress, crushing stress sigma c, it will give you the load, right? So we'll try to find out the crushing area of one bolt, crushing area of the all bolts, multiply by n, then multiply that by sigma c to give the crushing force, and multiply that with the diameter of, you know, those bolts are located as a diameter capital D, p circle diameter of the bolt, multiplied by that d by 2 will give you the torque. Compare that torque with our this torque. So your torque is equal to mt is equal to n d1 t sigma c into d by 2. Mt is the torque, n is number of bolts, d1 is the what you can say diameter of the bolt, t is the thickness of the flange, sigma c is the allowable crushing stress, and d is p circle diameter. So from that we get sigma c is equal to 2mt upon n d1 t d. So we can, once we know from the previous equation diameter of the bolt, we can make sure that it will not fail in crushing, right? So this is how we will do the design. So simply we will find out the diameters of the what you can say shaft and different dimensions of the coupling. Then we'll make sure that the your hub, you know, it will not fail in shear. Then we'll make sure that your flange will not fail in shear. Then we'll try to find out the diameter of the bolts, and then we'll make sure that bolt will not fail in crushing or compression. And last part is the keys. Now this is what you know, the keys already we know the design. We use the two equation, tau is equal to 2mt upon dbl, and sigma c is equal to 4mt upon dhl. If it is a square key, b and h will be same, and your sigma c will be twice of tau. So this is how we will do design of a flange coupling. Okay, we have still 4 minutes left. Anybody has any doubt, you can ask me. In the next lecture, I will take a numerical, whatever we discussed today, I will take a numerical of this. We will, I will again just quickly go through the procedure, what we are going to do in the numerical. First, find out the torque, Try to find out the diameter of the shaft using the shear stress equation. Find out the dimensions of flanges. Make sure that your hub and flange will not fail in shear. Find out the diameter of the bolt. Make sure that it will not fail in crushing, and find the dimensions of the cage. This is the way we are going to take the approach for the design of a coupling. Okay. Okay, so I'm stopping my sharing, and now if anybody has any doubt, you guys can ask me. Otherwise, I am giving you 5 minutes. So 4 minutes are left for the next lecture. So I think we'll call it a day. Let me just take a quick attendance because some of you joined late. Okay, so if you guys don't have any doubt, then we can say, we'll call it a day, and next lecture we'll take a numerical on this. Okay. Okay, you can disconnect and join the next lecture at whatever time given by your professor. Thank you.